Son.
You know, in all my years, I've never set foot outside the Institute. Not once. Since the day they brought me here. I've never had a reason. But now, this just confirms the truth I've always known. The Commonwealth is dead. There's no future here. The only hope for humanity lies below.
Some air fresheners, a new coat of paint, and it'll all be good as new.
If only it were that simple. Standing here, I'm reminded of how fortunate I am that I was spared a life in this wasteland. I know that to you, I was kidnapped from that vault. In truth, the Institute rescued me. Both of us, really.
Kellogg called me the backup.
Did he? Well, he was correct. I was the perfect candidate. An infant with uncorrupted DNA. But if something were to go wrong, if I died, well, the Institute realized a contingency plan was prudent. Another source of pre-war DNA, preferably related to their primary subject. It only made sense that my parents should fill that role. So you were kept alive and safe within the vault. I'll admit, when I had you released from Vault 111, I had no expectations that you'd survive out here in all this. To not only do so, but manage to find me. To infiltrate the Institute itself. Extraordinary.
So it was you. You let me out.
Yes. It was my decision. Certainly it was no longer necessary to keep you suspended. Well, I suppose I wanted to see what would happen. An experiment of sorts. I had no idea what kind of man you were, you see. Would the Commonwealth corrupt you, as it has everything else? Would you even survive? Perhaps most curious to me, would you, after all this time, attempt to find me? And now I know the answer.
That's all this is to you? All I am to you? Just another experiment?
No, that's not all. But still, I'm glad it turned out the way it did. Soon, I hope you'll understand. Everything I've done has been for the future. A future which I hope is not in jeopardy after recent events. Bunker Hill did not go well for us. Would you care to explain what happened?
We got our asses kicked. Does it matter how?
The chances of failing this mission were so astronomically low that yes, it does matter. Bunker Hill was to cement your place as a valuable asset to the Institute. It will now only raise suspicions. And to see the Brotherhood of Steel involved in this, they had no way of knowing what was going on. I will refrain from sharing the outcome with the Directorate for the moment. Things are already in motion that this would only derail. Speaking of which, it's time for you to become more involved in the future of the Institute. I'd like you to join me inside. The Directorate is meeting, and you should be there. I'll be waiting. I've seen enough. It's time to go back in.
All systems nominal.
Hey there.
Hey man, I'm Denny Routs. I don't think we've met yet. How's it going?
What do you do around here?
I chill. That's when a-hole AO isn't getting up in my business. I don't even want this job. Everyone just got bumped up a notch when old Zimmer frame Zimmer left.
Do you know anything about a missing synth?
Oh man, this again? It's about that lady in robotics, right? I handle a lot of missing synths. Sometimes we get them back, sometimes they vanish forever. Shit happens. Am I right?
Nothing else for now.
Alright, see you around.
Scanning unknown identity. Clearance confirmed.
It's really exciting having you here. I can't wait to see what you can do.
I wondered how long it would be before you came and bothered me. Father may have given you the run of the place, but that doesn't mean I have to like it.
What do you do around here?
I pick up the slack left by Dr. Lee. And believe me, there's a lot of it.
Do you know anything about a missing synth?
Hilda's still going on about this? We had a thorough investigation and established the synth had picked up a fault during production.
If you won't help me, fine. I'll find someone else who will.
Fine, you do that. Is there anything else?
That's all for now.
Don't hurry back, all right?
One day, I'll design a more efficient reactor to replace that old clunker in the basement.
Synth unit, you were scheduled for maintenance duty in SRB last night. Anything you'd like to report?
Nothing to report, sir. I carried out my duties, as usual.
Dr. Ao saw you accessing a terminal. You know you are not permitted to access terminals in that section. Is Dr. Ao mistaken?
Yes. I mean, no, he's not. But I was only...
What is it? Were you or weren't you accessing a terminal in SRB?
I was. But I swear it's not what it sounds like. I was cleaning the terminal and it switched on by mistake. I was just shutting it down.
Was that a stutter? Have you developed a defect, unit? Maybe you need to be reset.
I assure you that won't be necessary. It won't happen again.
See that it doesn't. You don't want me to tell you twice. Now get back to your duties.
Excuse me.
Father is more than just our leader. He is our creator.
He didn't show up for duty today, and I can't seem to find him.
Did you check robotics? He was probably scheduled for routine maintenance. I wouldn't worry about it.
I thought so too, but he wasn't in the log, and everyone I've asked hasn't seen him. He's never just missed his shift like that.
What are you saying?
I'm worried something might have happened to him. No one knows where he is. It's like he just disappeared. It doesn't feel right.
Shh. Keep your voice down. You know what happens if they hear you talking like this? They'll wipe you. I suggest you keep this to yourself.
But what if something's wrong? Look around. Courser patrols have doubled. Synths are being wiped more frequently. Something is going on.
I don't want to hear anymore. Do whatever you want. Just leave me out of it.
Hey.
What? So peaceful. Excuse me. I was miles away.
What do you do around here?
I tend the gardens here at Bioscience. I think it's one of our most important jobs. I think that if ever a mortal heard the word of God, it would be in a garden at the cool of the day.
Do you know anything about a missing synth?
Ah, Dr. Hughes's synth. I try not to get involved in departmental disputes.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
I find that hard to believe. I think you do know something.
Okay, sometimes I do hear things. For example, I heard that Dr. Rauds is out of his depth in SRB. Maybe that has something to do with it. Of course, I'm only speculating.
Is there anything I can do to help out?
Perhaps there is a little something you could do for a poor old man. I'm sure you know that the Institute is built above the CIT building, and that everyone who lives here is descended from the former staff and students. One of my ancestors wrote and published a monograph, which I'm certain is stored above. It wasn't very influential or significant, but it would mean a lot to an old man to have a memento of his past. Kellogg always sneered at me when I asked him to get it.
What's in it for me?
My eternal gratitude, and a modest sum of caps.
Let me think about it.
I cannot ask for more.
Good, we're all here. I think it's time we begin.
Sir, excuse me, but what exactly is he doing here?
I will address that issue. But there are other subjects that require our attention first. The level of unrest in the Commonwealth continues to rise, as we're all aware. Your report.
All Institute facilities remain completely secure with the exception of one notable breach. Otherwise, internally, things are as tight as they've ever been. Dr. Ao has been keeping an eye on things topside.
Yes, Watchers show no additional threats beyond those previously identified. We're still monitoring the increased activity around Fort Independence, but there are no immediate signs we should be concerned. Boston International Airport remains occupied, with Brotherhood presence noted at several other points throughout the Commonwealth. Intelligence suggests that this railroad continues to operate and is becoming more ambitious. SRB agents are monitoring all known situations, sir.
Very good, thank you. It's clear that our safety needs to be the primary concern going forward. To that end, where are we on Phase 3?
Sir, are you sure this is the time to be discussing it? Given, well, considering all parties present?
Ah, yes, that's true. Have you heard anything about Phase 3?
I don't think so.
It's all right. I wouldn't expect you to have. The project has been classified from the beginning. Power is, as I'm sure you've seen above ground, a very valuable commodity. I'm not talking about some abstract concept of control. I mean real, tangible power. The kind that keeps the lights on. With every advance the Institute makes, our need for raw power increases. Many compromises and sacrifices have been made over the years to allow progress to continue.
Right. Such hard times down here.
I would never disagree that life in the Institute is better than above ground. We have done much to ensure it. Now, we take things even further. Phase 3 is simply the activation of a nuclear reactor that can provide enough power to the Institute now and forever. It will ensure not just our survival, but our prosperity.
Nuclear power? That's a disaster waiting to happen.
Not in our hands. I assure you this is the answer. This is the future. The reactor is close to ready, but recent tests have determined we have a few tasks ahead of us. Thus, we come to Phase 3, and to how you will help.
Sir.
Yes, Dr. Ao. Previously, we would rely on Kellogg for above-ground operations, yes? Well, he is gone. While I'm not overly fond of putting my own father in harm's way, he has proven more than capable of handling himself.
Yes, but...
This is not a matter for debate.
You again. Have you been keeping hydrated? Take some water.
Do you know anything about a missing synth?
Did Hilda send you She had me going through every synth from that batch, and I found nothing wrong. Or did I? I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I wrote it in my diary.
Whatever you say, pal.
This conversation has gone on long enough. I'd hate to die and lose my progress. I need to have a little sleep.
Now, there is one more subject that requires discussion.
I don't know that this is the time.
Dr. Holdren, it is time. Please. As I'm sure several of you are already aware, I have been under Dr. Volkert's care for some time. I'm sorry, this is difficult for me. Our best efforts have failed. Every experimental treatment we could devise has been unsuccessful. I'm sorry to say I am dying.
What?
Please, everyone, please, I am sorry. This is not how I wanted to tell you, but we're running out of time.
There must be something we can do to help you.
The only thing that matters now is continuing the Institute's work.
This can't be happening. I only just found you.
I've had the same thoughts more than a few times. But we cannot let this stop us. Our work must continue. We can talk more later. Right now, the future of the Institute is at stake. The Institute cannot survive without leadership. The Directorate must continue to govern with the best interest of all in mind. To that end, I am naming my father as my successor.
Oh, boy.
You
That's
can't
ridiculous.
be serious.
Really? Seems a poor choice.
How can you possibly justify this? He isn't one of us. He isn't even a scientist.
Ignoring your borderline, insubordinate tone, I will simply say this. The Institute has enough scientists. What it needs is a leader. I believe my father has already proven himself more than capable in that regard. This will conclude this meeting. Thank you.
My compliments on getting V592 back to us so quickly.
Perhaps someday our synths can reclaim the Commonwealth.
I had no idea.
I know this is... well, it's a lot to take in at once. I'm sorry, Father. I hope it wasn't too presumptuous of me to put you in charge without even asking first.
I don't want to run this place.
Are you so sure? You seem to have a natural talent for leading by example, getting things done. This will suit you. And I think we can both agree the Institute will need the guidance. But I'll admit, I understand. You've been through quite a lot. I know this is a lot to take in. I know this isn't what you wanted. But it's the only truth I can offer you. However, Father, this will all be yours. The Institute is now your home.
What would it mean to be in charge?
Most divisions of the Institute are fairly autonomous, perfectly capable of functioning without intervention. Where those divisions interact, however, problems can arise. You'd lead the Directorate in setting policy, resolving disputes, and the like. Don't worry, I don't hold it against you. There's no question that some of the Directorate, and the Institute at large, will need reassurances about your appointment. That's why I'd like you to take charge of this latest operation. Dr. Fillmore can fill you in on the details. There are hard decisions ahead, for all of us. But for you especially. I know that you'll do the right thing.